Hey everyone, welcome back to the Hand of Glory. So let's check what we have. Radway dropped something in the hole outside my apartment. Cell phone, let's go outside. Let's look at the hole.
I would not be able to reach that little object even if I stretched to the maximum. I'd need some sort of tool or extension.
And we have it. We have to use the glow stick.
Now it was within my reach. And there was the little object I had glimpsed the night before. Radwed's smartphone, finally in my hand.
Let's go inside and show it to Alice.
Hey,
How's it going?
I recovered the package.
Tell me you were spot on and that we have Rodwed's phone.
You better believe it.
Seriously? So taking all those blows was worth it.
Taking all those blows? Since when did you start speaking like a bar brawler?
Since I've been hanging out with you. Give me the device, quick.
Can you get anything from it? Useful information that will get us closer to Kathrin?
I can and I will. Let me work. I just have to open the tracking software.
Well, let's be clear though, he took the most of the beating.
And let's use the tracker.
Okay, I'll launch the tracking program. Now I'll connect the smartphone to the laptop and wait for the readout of the results.
So, now we will be able to track the calls made with this device?
We should be, but the tracker wasn't able to find enough data from the phone. I guess it's shielded. Darn. Do you see the area that appeared on the map? It indicates the place where Rodwed's phone seems to have been used lately.
Oh, too vast to identify the precise spot. Tell me you still have one more trick up your sleeve or I'll start crying.
I could try to monitor the incoming signals received in the last few days. If we can obtain at least 3 readings, we could triangulate the signal's directions and find the location where Rodwed was at the time of the calls. Here's the first signal. Judging by the reference radio tower, the call must have originated from the old factory building.
Mama did mention she had called Radwed, now that I think about it.
And here's another signal, this time closer to the coast. Any ideas?
Probably the harbor office contacting Radwed after accepting his bribe. Maybe to clarify a few details about that night.
It all fits. And I guess I have access to a third signal. 1 minute and... oh no, that's not good.
Yeah, the fact that the icon is sizzling and dancing all around is not a good sign, is it?
Not at all. The signal comes from a radio tower near the Mulzberg mansion, but the results are disturbed. I guess they installed some kind of shielding device specifically to prevent being tracked.
All right, I'm on it. Just tell me what I have to do.
Take this device for starters. Once you get to the Mulzberg residence, use it to track the source of the disturbance.
What should I look for exactly?
A telephone jammer. That is to say, a little device equipped with antennas. When you find it, put this tracker on top. It is also programmed to deactivate the jamming device. Once it is taken out of the equation, come back to me, and I'm sure we'll get something.
No sooner said than done. I'll be back here in no time.
So we return to the mansion.
The signal didn't point exactly towards the house, but to the garden. I had to figure out where they stuck this you know, the radio thingy. I was able to cross the garden without being noticed by anyone, following the signal up to the gardener's shed. I found the device behind one of those stacked crates. Following Alice's instructions, I put the device I had with me on top of it. Then Alice would be able to...
Did I really need to do that, Mama dear?
Sure you did, idiot. Didn't you see that bunch of fleas was going to bite my hindquarters?
If you say so, Mama.
Don't hold a grudge on me now. We followed that shorty this far. But where did he go?
Come out of there, Stallone!
Not in the garbage, you idiot! He must be in the shed. Now be quiet and let's wait for him to come out.
Trapped again. Mom and Eugene didn't want to drop the ball. To get out of that shed, I would have to devise one of my genius ideas, and fast.
So let's use the crate with the door.
I could have used the crates to barricade the shed, but sooner or later Eugene would manage to enter all the same. Then I saw the opening above the door, and my brain cells started to activate.
So let's use it on the opening.
I built a ladder using what I found in the shed, and the box seemed like something I should remember. But for the base, I need something more solid.
Okay, so let's click the toilet.
The toilet could have been useful, but it was secured with screws.
And use the wrench.
Investigator, cook, tightrope walker, and now also plumber. My portfolio was becoming impressive.
And let's use it on the opening.
I never thought I'd say something like this, but the toilet bowl was perfect for the job. Well, now the shed had a comfortable floor toilet.
So let's get a bunch of pebbles
I
here.
picked up a handful.
And we need to open the fridge.
That fridge was emptier than mine. I just found a hotting pot that could be useful.
Let's use the crate on the toilet.
Another step in building my stairway to heaven.
And let's go up.
How long do we have to stay here, Mama?
All the time we need, you redneck. Sooner or later, he'll decide to come out of there.
Now what we need to do is use the honey on Eugene.
Can we go now?
No!
Mama, it started raining.
Don't talk nonsense, you big monkey! Can't you see there's not even a cloud in the sky?
But I was sure that...
And throw a pebble on the hive.
Mama! Mama!
Eugene, you idiot! Get back here immediately!
And for the second time.
2-0 for me, Mama. I knew that wouldn't be the last meeting with the two henchmen. But for the time being, I had dodged a bullet. Then I saw Bobby on the ground. Eugene had clearly let him fall as he ran. It was a great relief to have him back in my possession. It was high time to beat it.
And back to Alice. Let's talk to her.
Hey,
How's it going?
the device is gone. I'd like to specify that I risked my life once again to make it possible.
Perfect. We should have what we need to continue with our search. There. Now we have all 3 signals we'll use for tracking.
And how do we proceed now?
Do you see the light trails? They show the direction of the outgoing calls from the radio towers. I just have to select the radio tower to manipulate and use the 2 arrows on the lower left to rotate the signal.
But how will you know when you've set them the right way?
The signals will become more defined once they're arranged in their correct orientation. And once all 3 are done, we'll have the general position of Rodwed's cell phone at the moment the calls were received.
Hey, I actually understood that.
Now let me work.
So it's very easy. With this you can select the signals and just arrange them so that the color is at the brightest. Like here. Second data here, and the third one.
Lars, come here. I think I got
Done.
it. The signals seem well defined. These are the exact directions of the phone calls. If we consider only the area where the 3 signals overlap and narrow it down to the circular area we're inspecting...
We obtain a decidedly small zone. In the Everglades. That would make sense.
In that vicinity, there only seems to be an old, unused building I cannot find any official papers for.
We found it. This is the place they brought Kathrin. I'd bet my hat. We have to go. Now.
Hold on. We need to think carefully. You always go and charge in without a plan, and as a result, you've risked your life many times since this case started. We must be extra cautious instead. We have very few hours of light left, so we might as well wait until tomorrow. In the meantime, we will formulate a safe approach plan. We could even consider involving Burton. After all, we're dealing with a teenager's life here.
I'm not entirely convinced, but all right. For once, I'll try to restrain myself.
Perfect. At this point, would you mind if I stay over? We could save a few precious hours.
Be my guest. The bed is right over there. And on the other hand, I can see that you and the sofa are meant for each other, so I don't want to come between you.
You're really the last of the knights, Lazarus Bundy.
What would happen to Kathrin Mulzberg if I didn't make my move in time? And besides, how much would I expose Alice by involving her in all this? Those were the questions that kept me awake. The answers to those same questions finally helped me to understand what I had to do. I was going to be alone for the last time.
So we decided to go to the Everglades.
I reached the place in the middle of the night. I had to leave Green Dart a few hundred feet away because of the rugged and swampy terrain. A lonely wooden building arose in the desolate Everglades landscape. There was no light that hinted of a human presence, but I was sure I was in the right place. I needed to arm myself before proceeding. Alligators. The Everglades were haunted by those fanged demons. With a single blow, I had lost my source of light and my only defensive weapon. Oh, to hell with me, and my dislike of firearms. The structure was dark and silent. I didn't think there was anyone inside.
Well, the door is locked. Let's look at the window. And check the hatch.
I couldn't reach it.
Let's use the stick.
With that, I could reach the latch keeping the hatch closed. The lower hatch of the door was open. The hatch was designed for a small animal, not a human, so I could never squeeze through it.
So let's leave and can use the pin on the door.
The trick of the
antenna.
key dropping on a newspaper and then slipping it under the door only worked in the movies. But I had another idea in mind. I'd broken my very useful antenna, but at least I was able to poke the key out of the lock and make it fall on the floor of the cabin.
Well, let's look at the hatch one last time. Take the
trick
key.
had worked to perfection. The shed was completely empty, with the exception of an abandoned envelope on the table.
Let's look at the envelope.
With a trembling hand, I picked up the envelope.
And shuffle through the pictures here.
I couldn't believe what I saw. Me, climbing the wall of Mulzberg's residence. So somebody had been spying on me since the beginning of my investigation? The bowling night with Alice. I'd exposed that girl beyond all acceptable limits. The interrogation of Duke Ravendish. So they knew I was looking for the Citlalique. That's why Radwood was so calm. Just as I thought, the daring escape from the Citlalique aboard M's raft. Those fanatics had been following my moves step by step.
Look what we have here.
Oh, the same
Prepared
guy.
a little show for you, detective. Now relax and let me work. The spectacle is under construction.
You.
Not another step, detective, or I might lose control of this old, trembling hand and make a fine mess. Hands in the air and no tricks.
If you so much as touch her...
For goodness sake, Bundy, do what he tells you.
Wise suggestion, Eric. We don't want this innocent creature to suffer any premature pain, do we?
For the love of God, let my grandson go.
First you give me your daughter, and now you pretend to play the role of the thoughtful grandfather.
The kidnapping wasn't planned. Mulzberg had promised not only Kathrin, but also the baby born of your relationship.
But it seems that the word of a businessman carries very little weight these days.
I was blinded. All the power you promised me isn't worth the sacrifice of...
Eric. This knife is becoming heavier and heavier.
If this is really the end of the road, at least I want to know why.
This is not a pathetic theatrical performance with a happy ending, detective.
I've been watching you, so I know you didn't warn anybody about your solo plan. Because this is what you're used to do, isn't it? Following your ambition without any compromise. Putting your work ahead of everything else. Ahead of family. Leaving it behind in the name of your ambition. Ahead of the few friends you've had.
I fulfill the emptiness of your existence. That's why you desperately need me. and that's why you can only watch helplessly. So now, if you don't mind...
No!
Hold it right there! Keep your hands up where I can see them.
Like this?
What the hell was that?
Where did he go?
The window, quick!
So he managed to escape.
Kathrin Mulzberg was rushed to the hospital, while the Everglades were scoured from the ground up by Burton's men. Radwed and the baby had disappeared without a trace. Too many questions were left unanswered. How had Radwed gained these mysterious powers? And what was the role of the doctor? Only one thing I was sure of. I had failed. I stayed out late that night. I didn't have the guts to face Alice. If she hadn't warned Burton, things would have gone even worse. Radwed had tracked all my movements. Every bit of progress I thought I had made was just one more step toward the ending he had prepared. His ending. I underestimated my enemy. Or maybe I just overrated myself. I couldn't keep deluding myself like that. Maybe I should... drop my last line of defense.
Lars. We can't let this thing stop us. We just need...
I just need to go to bed and forget about everything.
That's it? Is this how you built your fame? By leaving things half done?
I have no energy left.
I don't believe you. Not after what I've seen.
Listen to me.
You walked on unstable ledges. You twice broke into the den of murderers you were after.
Alice.
You risked it all to save that girl. And now...
I'm dying of cancer!
That was heavy.
What? You run out of words?
Didn't see that coming.
Didn't your kinetic superpower see that coming? I know what you're thinking. You're thinking it'd take tremendous effort to hide such a disease. And you're right. And yet it's far worse than you think. Having to pretend every minute in front of others. In front of your boss, your colleagues, your neighbors, the supermarket cashier. Having to look confident, brilliant, unshakable, invincible. Yeah, I lied. I created such a well-orchestrated charade that I ended up believing it myself. I lied because I didn't want to suffer the look on your face right now. Concern, sympathy, pity. I don't want anyone looking at me like that. Not once. I was the best at what I did. I was the detective who flushed out all the cruelest and smartest criminals on the East Coast. And I need to be that guy again, even if my body betrays me and stabbing pains pierce my mind. I was hoping this case would be the last blaze of glory for Lazarus Bundy, but maybe it's beyond my reach. I can't face all of this, Alice. Not in this condition. I can't stop them. The masquerade is over.
So it's not over, folks. If we skip the credits,
I must have fallen asleep with my clothes on. What are you doing? Listen, Alice, about last night.
Remember that bomb that Kathrin pointed out to you?
Yeah, I got it. I need to take a shower. You already told me.
We were wrong. The clue was referring to something else.
Hey, have you been up all night?
Everything is clear now.
Listen, I really don't want to.
Answer this, Detective. How long has it been since you've gone back to your roots?
Ooh, what?
I was just booking 2 plane tickets. We're going to Italy.
So this is it, folks. I really enjoyed it, and it was a very big game. That was the end of the first chapter. Cannot wait till September. My Steam page says I have played it for like 10 hours, but I've played it twice, so it's like 6 or 7 hours of playtime, which is a lot for the first part of the game. So I really enjoyed it. I hope you did also. Have a great day, and I'll see you very soon.